I'm Scott Allen Miller. This is my life living in Leon, Nicaragua. Tonight, our show is brought to you by NikaRoomba.com. If you're looking for events in Nicaragua, like concerts or cultural events, musicals that are going on at the theater, or possibly a parade, check out Nika Roomba. And if you are involved in restaurants or bands or anything here like that, check out Nika Roomba as a place to put your event. Everything is free for users and for venues and bands and everybody, just promoting life here in Nicaragua. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about, can we make the move to Nicaragua? I'm going to read the topic real quick, but we got people joining, so we're just going to read this. Before we get started, Awakened One writes, and this is just a little while ago, I would like to move there to Nicaragua, but my adult son lives with me to assist me. I'm 68, need a bit of assistance around the place. I'm more comfortable knowing he is there when I need assistance. Question is, what would it cost for both of us there? Also, would we be able to work there at all? Would he be able to work there at all, should say. And I did answer in the post, well, cost-wise, the more people you move, the bigger the savings. What kind of work does he do? He says he is a writer. No pay for that. He is not actually currently working. He has a background in farming and permaculture. He volunteers a lot right now, helping homeless people here in Canada. Also taught English in Mexico for 6 months, speaks Spanish. All right. So we're going to be addressing that today. But we are kind of waiting for people to get on. There was the sound of my dog whapping her ears, as she likes to do. And I'm actually going to post a response to him. And we'll hopefully get him on here. All right, D. Gilbert has already hit him. The new live stream schedule is insanity. I love it, by the way. Thank you. I like it too. This is super late, and we're not going to go super long tonight. This is definitely a short one. So last night, my daughter Lisa and I, because we do cinema studies for her high school literature work, and we watched Singing in the Rain, which is fantastic. Love it. Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, Debbie Reynolds. What a great movie. So good. She really liked it. So she and I have mostly overlapping taste in those movies, but like I like Casablanca and she doesn't. And then we were talking about Gene Kelly, and so ended up watching Xanadu, which is the movie that killed his career and the career of everyone who was involved with it, and created the Razzies. So that was interesting. So that was our night last night. Tonight, we went out and hung out. We wanted to try out a new coffee shop, couldn't find it. I don't know if it went out of business already or if it's just so closed up at night that you can't tell where it was. I don't know. But we tried that. We went to our regular haunt at Dr. Coffee and hung out there for a few hours and are just getting back home now. So that was our day. Janet says, if you like when you first get here, you don't have to do it later. That's right, everyone. Give a like to the live stream as we get it going. Brian says, make up your mind on live scheduling. Look, it's random times. That's what we do. And we keep everyone on their toes. D. Gilbert says, sometimes it feels like you are paid by the Nicaraguan government to lie to us and make us want to move to Nicaragua. Also known as loving your country. It's amazing how passionate you are. Well, thank you, I think. How many people do we have on? I mean, it's only been a few minutes. Six people are on. Excellent. For a late Monday night. Not expecting very many people tonight. So we're not going to go long on tonight's show. We're gonna move this along, try to make it kind of like a daily, because I'm going to be playing a murder mystery with my children. They're in the other room setting it up right now. One of those box sets where you take everything out and you've got the different evidence that you have to sort through and all that. So we're doing that tonight. And then I have to go out to the beach sometime this week. I can't remember when, or I don't know when, maybe. And then Thursday is my daughter's birthday. And so Thanksgiving, obviously not doing a live stream. Keep saying we're doing lots of other live streams. We're not doing a live stream on Thursday. I'm going to be hanging out with my kids, and then I'm going to be in Managua for a few days. Hopefully, I'll actually get a chance to do some filming while there, and then I will be back on Sunday for the Ipico, which is here in town. Which is always fun. So if you're going to be in Leon, Definitely check out the Ipico this Sunday. Very cool. Patricia says, you're going live every night now? I'm not really, but this week, a lot. Because I have no time to do anything more, and so these are much faster. And because I know Thursday I'm busy, Friday I'm busy, Saturday I'm busy, Sunday I'm busy. So I have very little free time already, and just this weekend schedule is madness, and I'm skipping a bunch of stuff I wanted to do this weekend because of other things I have to do this weekend, because I wanted to do the Myths and Legends here in town, which we can't do. D. Gilbert says, have the prices in Nicaragua gone up a lot lately? Is it very possible to live there under $800 a month as a frugal man? Yeah, you can definitely live here under $800. The cost of food has gone up. That is definitely true over the last couple of years, but other things have really not. Transportation, for the most part, stays pretty low. Taxis are a little bit higher, but public transport is the same, I think. Crazy cheap. I haven't, like the UCA buses, it's still 78 cord to go to the capital. And one could argue that because of inflation, it's actually cheaper in some ways now than it was. Overall, it's more expensive. I'm not saying that life has gotten cheaper. I'm saying like the UCA bus has gotten cheaper. Rents have gotten cheaper. Buying a house has gotten cheaper. Food has gotten more expensive. Taxis have gotten more expensive. But the value of the dollar has fallen. So the amount you're actually paying isn't as much more as it may seem. But you have to keep it in contrast with existing inflation outside of Nicaragua. So it's misleading to some degree. Value of things is difficult to track because it's like, oh, things got more expensive. Right, but did salaries go up? They did. The rate salaries have gone up. As much as food, maybe not. Right, but they have. And for salaries to go up and rents to have actually gone down, depending on which piece of the economy you look at, it seems like it's leveled off, gotten better, gotten worse. Overall, I think it's not much different. More, right? Food is so impactful that a small increase in food would take a large decrease in anything else to make it overall cheaper. But all the other things getting cheaper and food and taxis getting more expensive is causing a bit of a buffering effect. Cool, you're going to Managua. Nice to show places you visit. The places your daughter's like. I will show some. I don't know where we're going. I don't know where they've picked yet. They were talking about wanting to go see Chicago, but I don't think it's playing while we're going to be there. And they were just talking about it. Had they talked earlier, we would have gone and seen it because I wanted to go see a show at the Teatro Nacional with the new Murdoch Productions. I'm sure we're going out to, I think we're going to go to the tea room. I heard a couple things that we might do. I can't remember. We're actually staying 2 nights, which we don't do that often. So we get to kind of camp out in Managua, which is nice. So I'm looking forward to having a little bit of time to just chill. But it says, have the tariffs on Chinese products changed? No, they're still tariff free. Most. I mean, there's always some product that has a tariff. It's not absolutely 100%, but the Chinese products are tariff free. So that's. I've heard no announcement that that's going to change. It doesn't seem likely. I think that's gonna stick. All right. Well, we've got quite a few people on. I'm really happy with how many people just jump onto the live stream doing this on other nights. Like, this is incredible. I mean, it's 16 people right now, but we've only been on for 8 minutes, and that's a lot for an unannounced, really late Monday night live stream. Like, this is excellent. Do you know about the Temp theme park? This is Diego. I know of it. It looked Fun City, I think it's called, on the Messiah Road. I don't know how long it's staying, but I would like to check it out. My kids are wary of temporary theme parks, so I'm interested. I'm interested. We will see, because filming it would be really cool, and I can't remember what Instagram page it's under. I'm gonna need to look and see if I can find it. And where does it come from? Does anyone have information on this thing? Because it's weird. I think it's Fun City, Costa Rica that's putting it on. I think it's a Costa Rican thing, but it's wild. Are the swimming pools at hotels and hostels safe for swimming? Do they use chemicals and chlorine? Yes, they're definitely safe for swimming. Yes, they use chemicals. I'm still trying to figure out how to get nicotine into the country or start a front business so I can get my own nicotine. Otherwise, I'm off to Ecuador. This is 10 by. Yeah, I mean, you can get tobacco, obviously, but nicotine in a non-tobacco form or a non-leaf form, extremely difficult. Yeah, I gotta track down. Diego, do you have a link to that Fun City thing? I've shared it places, but I don't seem to have it, and I don't think it's up on Nika Roomba yet. Everybody check out Nika Roomba. Diego, I know you're here. Do you have an account on Nika Roomba? Go get that. Any of you who are here in country, you definitely need to have Nika Roomba accounts. This is new, that you can have an account on it, and especially new, you can sign up, and definitely let me know if anyone has problems with it, but people tested it today. Get out there with, sign in with your Google. Just get in there, sign in with Google, and you're right on. And you can now follow, Janet will like this, you can follow events, and it puts you on your personal calendar in the app, so that you can just follow along that way without having to remember which things you're interested in as more things start to go up there. Patinka816 says, I was happily surprised to see your live stream just as I'm off to shut down for the night. It's an hour later here in Toronto. We'll watch the recorded video tomorrow. Love this topic. And that is, we're up to 19 people with Patinka816 being on. So only a few likes though. So guys, we know you're passionate about the live stream. Give us a thumbs up while we're reminding people. Okay, let's get to today's topic because I do have to go play. I'm 21 people now. Wow, you guys are awesome. We're going to go play I'm not on the show. I'm going to go play a murder mystery board game with my children, one of those one-shot deals. We're going to get really stuck into it tonight. So I'm going to read this again from Awakened One. I believe he posted this. I would like to move there, but my adult son lives with me to assist me. I'm 68 and need a bit of assistance around the place. I am more comfortable knowing he is there when I need assistance. Question is, what would it cost for the both of us there? Also, would he be able to work there at all? So let's answer the first thing right away. Can he work here? Absolutely not. He cannot work here in Nicaragua. Working in Nicaragua, right? It's all in the wording. They're Canadian. Like, I don't know if this said this here. Somewhere it says it. So as Canadians, can they move to Nicaragua and take local jobs? No, cannot be done. Absolutely out of the question. However, can he take work somewhere in Canada or the U.S. that is remote and work from Nicaragua, basically a digital nomad? Absolutely no problem at all. So I asked what he does. And he says, well, Scott, he's a writer. No pay for that. That is true. Writing is very difficult. But as a writer, right, so anytime you have a thing that you're doing, writing being a great example, so you can totally write from Nicaragua because you're actually writing in Canada. I know that sounds weird, but that's kind of how you structure it. And so you're writing in Canada. And whether it pays a ton or very little is kind of not the point. That it is an activity you're doing it from Nicaragua means that it will be cheaper than if you did it from not Nicaragua. And so that means that if writing is a thing that he's passionate about and wants to do, Nicaragua will aid in that by making the rest of life less expensive. So in theory, being a writer out of Nicaragua will be beneficial to him. Now, he has taught English in Mexico. He speaks Spanish. He's got a lot of things he can do. He'll have no problem staying busy. He may find that by living where it's more affordable, maybe he can get his writing to take off. I lived here as a writer. I wrote a book and published a book while living here in Nicaragua. I started it before I got here, but I wrote my published book here. And, you know, is that a thing that's going to make you a ton of money? Absolutely not. Under normal circumstances. I mean, I'm not just saying just because I didn't make a lot of money that you won't, but realistically, it's a very difficult thing to do to really make money as a writer under any circumstance, right? So let's hope that he can. That would be great, but it is a tough thing to do. But you only need to make a small fraction as much money working as a writer here than you would somewhere else. So if you needed, let's say you needed $80,000 to live in Canada, he could live here for the same for maybe 25 or 30,000, which is much more doable as an author than something else. By the way, this is a link to my book for those who are interested in purchasing my book. I appreciate it. I also appreciate all the 5-star reviews and the likes on the live stream. But some people do ask about it from time to time. Very few people, but it does happen. Sean Martin says, I'm moving with my wife. Can you recommend a lawyer for obtaining a business visa? Sorry, I meant investor visa. Yes. So you don't need, so Diego then says, I wouldn't think a visa is really needed. You just show up. You'd have to do border runs, though. That is correct. You do not need a visa to show up or to invest. You need a visa only if you plan to. So a couple things, right? One, you don't go, so yesterday's episode, so we're jumping around here, right? We're going to get back to our topic. But for Sean Martin, the process is not get a visa and come. The process is come, move to Nicaragua. You are legally allowed to invest before you come here. That would be insane under normal circumstances. But I'm just saying this is the realistic process, is you move here because you need no visa for moving here. You then invest here if that's really what you want to do. That also does not require any particular visa. It is only the combination of living here, because you must do that first, and investing, must do that first. Can you then apply for an investor visa? If you were capable of investing incredibly quickly, right, and you just had all your paperwork done and you did a million things, you could theoretically have an investor's visa in 6 to 12 months. That would be moving really, really fast and putting in a lot of effort to do something that wouldn't make any financial sense. It would be very, very reckless, but you could do it. You could speed it up. But realistically, the way that you actually do it in the real world, when you're hoping to be successful and stay and make this your home, you want to move and give it a few years to learn enough about the market to make investing viable. Then you want to invest if that's what you want to do. Almost never is that what you want to do. That is a 1 in 1,000, literally, thing. Tons of people do it, but then discover that they were very, very foolish. But it could be, right? I'm an investor. I'm glad that we did it. But not many people would want to follow that path. And most people, when they hear what we did, why we did it, what makes us happy about it, they would not be happy making the same decisions. So generally not a thing that people mostly want to do. You then, after giving it a few years, then you invest. Then the combination allows you, once you've invested, because even investing, it takes a long time. You have to set up the actual business. You actually have to have employees. You have to maintain those employees for a while. Not a ton of time, but a while. You have to have actual employees. You have to then get the government to come and inspect your business and spend time with it and give their okay to it, which is not hard, but it takes time. But there's no hurry. There's zero reason that you needed to move faster. So that it takes time is not a negative. It's just part of the process. So yes, I do have a lawyer who'd be very good for this. I did have someone use her this week, and they're like, she was just amazing. That's awesome. She got me my investor visa, but it is not something that you even think about until you've been living here, and then you've been thinking about investing for a really long time, and then really, whatever. D. Gilbert says, are border runs unlimited? Not officially, but in a practical sense, they could be. Will the government eventually tell you that you're not allowed to keep doing them? Yes, most people will eventually be told. Some people get told after about a year and a half. Some people are on 17 years without being told. There's so many factors, and they change over time. They're not unlimited, as Diego says. They're indefinite. It is just way more flexible than people think. He says the government has no reason to not allow you to come. We want your money. So it's not that the government doesn't want you to come. It's at some point they don't want you doing border runs, but you mostly control that by your activities. D. Gilbert says, for my first time in Nicaragua, do you suggest I stay at one location for a couple months to see if I like the country, or better to hop city to city at a couple weeks apiece? That's a tough one. I think doing A few weeks in like Granada is good. You get a lot of touristy stuff out of the way. Almost everyone who does their first time has a bit of this, like, I got to be a tourist. And that's completely logical. But it can derail your plans for other things. And it's good sometimes. It's good to just get it out of your system. Be happy being a tourist for maybe 2 weeks, and then be able to go, okay, where do I want to pass my time? So I recommend for D. Gilbert to do some research ahead of time and have, depends on how long you're staying, right? But let's say you're going to be here for 3 months. Maybe do a bunch of research and say, I'm going to do 2 places. But you want to stay long enough in most cases that you stop being a hotel guest and start living here, which doesn't take a ton, but you definitely want to be at a point where you're at least in an Airbnb instead of a hotel, and at least doing grocery store runs, maybe cooking for yourself some. Maybe you have some cereal in the house, your fridge isn't empty. You want to do those things so you have some amount of experiencing what a day or a week of life in Nicaragua is like, and in different places. So my recommendation for a lot of people, and these are very much generic picks, so for any given person it could be completely somewhere else, I would recommend like 1 to 2 weeks in Granada at the beginning. Get a bunch of that out of your system. Then, like, Leon is a good choice as a completely different city, and Matagalpa is a great choice as a completely different city, and maybe do 5 or 6 weeks in one and 5 or 6 weeks in the other, and you'd come up with about a 3-month time. You'd get a feel for Granada, but not too much. It's a small place. And then you'd get 2 solid places where you'd stay long enough that you might be like, you know what, I really like this pizza place, I'm going to go back. Or, you know, I've walked around this town and I know I recognize things. I know how to get places. I kind of have a feel for what my life could be like here. Those are goals that most people doing this kind of investigation want to get. It can be very difficult to actually make it work, but that is kind of how I would approach it with that window. Now, if you had a city that you were just really enamored with from afar and you're like, I am so certain that Matagalpa is the city I want to be in, put in the time in Matagalpa. That's fine. Maybe tour around a little. I did that with Spain. I put in a bunch of time in Granada, but I toured on the weekends to everywhere in the region. Cadiz, Cordoba, Sevilla, Madrid, even Fez, Morocco, and so forth, right? Weekends were just going somewhere. But during the week, I lived in the outskirts, small town in Granada for a long time. And it was amazing, right? I got this tourist thing out of my system. I saw tons of Spain, but I also knew what daily life was and always kept my fridge stocked and was always hitting the grocery store in my local town. So that's kind of how I would approach it. Patricia says, I want to see all the touristy things. It really doesn't take too long. We're not a super touristy place. Diego says, I'm so annoyed with Claro at the moment. I bought a new phone that only has eSIMs, and now I need to go to a Claro office to pass my SIM number to eSIM. I mean, that's generally how it works. They have a Mi Claro web app, but it sucks and it isn't letting me, and I can't from the mobile app. The state of software in this country sucks. So that's actually Mexican software from one of the largest carriers in the world. I hate to tell you, you're not going to get any better in the US or Canada. It might actually be worse. The ability to get those things done here is actually pretty good. It's not the backwater you think it is. The US does have some services better. Canada most certainly does not. I think that's everyone who's asking questions. Okay, so back to the question about what would it cost for Awakened One and their adult son to live here. So it's very difficult to come up with a real price, of course, because we don't know what lifestyles you're going to do and stuff like that. But coming up with a budget of maybe, and they responded to single retired man on $1,100 budget Social Security in Nicaragua was the video that they had commented on, that Awakened One commented on, asking this question. So if you were to look at that and say, well, double that, you'd be in great shape. Assuming you're going to get an apartment or a rental house together, you could go for a 2-bedroom or even splurge for a 3. You're going to be using very little more budget for 2 people than you would for 1. Nicaragua does not reward single living in most cases. It just, not that they don't want you to, it's just the economy doesn't make apartments that are well suited for one person. It makes ones that are well suited for 2 or 3 or 4 people. They also don't tend to make ones that are good for big groups, right? This is kind of how it works. Unless you want to live crazy tough, like oh, I'm basically living in a hostel single bedroom, but it has a bathroom. Then you can get cheaper, but most expats are unhappy with that situation. So, if we were looking at the budget like we were for the single retired man and saying somewhere between 150 at probably a low end and 200 probably is a high end. It's been a while since I made that video, but I'm throwing that out there as probably the budget we talked about for housing in that video. Well, if you're doing with an adult son, you're going to move that 150 low number up to the 180, and you're going to move that 200 probably up to 250. But that's a far cry from double. And so you're going to have a lower cost of housing per person. And the $35 of internet that you were going to pay as a single person will also suffice for 2 people. So that's not going to budge by $1. Now your cost for your cell phone is going to double, but that's tiny at $11 a month. Now you're at $22 a month for the 2 of you, assuming you both have internet. But if one of you is rarely leaving the house, you may find that you're able to save a few dollars on that, right? Get it down to $8 average per month per person. I probably pay about 8 to 9, not 11, just because of the way I manage it. So you can save a few dollars, but we're getting into some really nitty-gritties there. Because you're going to be living together, presumably, you're also going to be eating together much of the time. When you go out to eat, it's just going to double your budget. But when you're eating at home, it's not going to double it. It's not going to completely make it cheap the way that housing and internet are, but it is going to save you a little bit. All of that, I got some cereal for the house. Now you got 2 people sharing that trip to the grocery store. And these are obvious things. But so if you were thinking that one person on 1,100 was making sense, tight, obviously, but making sense, and you think, well, what if we could do 2,200? Realistically, you are going to be able to live on that $1,100 budget, probably brought down to for 2 people in around the $1,900 range, and have an equal lifestyle that we were discussing at $1,100. Is that a big budget? No, of course not. Living pretty lean, but presumably you're living in Canada on some budget. Almost certainly, by moving to Nicaragua, you're going to take whatever you have and make it go way farther. And of course, all the money we're talking about is USD, right? So don't forget that. But it's going to let you make your money go farther. If you were paying the rent and putting food on the table in Canada, then by being in Nicaragua, you're going to pay less in rent and less in food, and have more for going out and enjoying life, and so forth. And as we know, going out in Canada, if you're living in Toronto, for example, and you want to go to a bar, one night out at a bar, even if you're just getting 1 beer, could cost you $10. But if you're going out in Nicaragua, $8 is going to get you 2 beers and some food. Maybe not a huge meal, but it's going to get you something. You can start going out and doing more things. And there's just a lot more public spaces where things are really cheap. Like if you want to go out and have some entertainment, a thing that I enjoy doing, this is not something available all the time, but when it's here, the Ballet Nacional Folklorico will go into the main square and perform. You could go out, get a beer, get a thing of street elote, as they call it here. It's really esquite, and have a nice small meal or big snack with a beer. And the ballet is free, and you get a multi-hour evening out for what probably comes out to about $3 to $4, right? And that's not viable in Canada, let alone in the U.S. And Janet could speak to what a budget is like going out on a Friday night to a nice restaurant, not fancy, but a nice restaurant that's more expensive with big name bands playing. It's generally quite affordable, right? If I'm going out with a lot of people and we're getting a lot of food and drinks, yeah, you start noticing you're spending $20, $30 for a table full of people. But if you're going on your own, it really is often just a few dollars, right? Or less than 10. But if you're being really frugal, 2 or 3. And so that's a big deal. If you're able to live in Canada without him working, you should be able to live here better without him working. having him then look for some kind of online work, even if it's just minimal, right? Part-time or minimum wage or whatever, is going to contribute heavily to that household income. Even if it's 40 hours a week at $5 an hour, that's $800 a month, we're saying US here, being tacked on whatever you have now. That's really noticeable in a country where under $2,000 is plenty viable for two people. So I think the answer is very likely that you can move together. You can have a very high quality of life, a very safe life. You can make it affordable. I don't have enough details to really speak to how are you making it in Canada? What is life like in Canada? But by adding the ability to work online and the massively lower cost of living that we have here, you really have an opportunity to make whatever you're doing today go just so much farther. All right, I'm going to catch up a little bit. Jan says, haha, I don't care so much about the touristy things. Diego says, do you find weird the amount of songs we have about how great Nicaragua is and how great to be Nicaraguan is? Like everyone knows Con un pedazo de cielo. Is this normal in most countries? It is actually, Diego, normal in most countries. I think in almost every country we're appalled by how much we sing about ourselves. And then when we go to other countries, we go, oh, they do it too. If you go to Argentina, everyone's singing about being Argentinian. If you go to Mexico, everyone's singing about being Mexican. If you go to Germany, people are singing about being German. Go to Italy, they're singing about being Italian. It really does happen all the time. It is weird. Everyone does it. And I do notice it, right? Living here as long as I have, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of songs about Nicaragua, right? And a lot of shirts that say Nicaragua and a lot of hats that say Nicaragua. But then when I go back to the U.S., I go, oh, no, it's the same. Okay. I just don't feel it when I'm at my own country because I'm used to those songs are in the background. And that's clothing just gets ignored or whatever. And it doesn't stand out. Like, oh, your shirt has an American flag on it? I got 20 shirts that have American flags on it. I didn't get them because I'm like, whoa, I got to have an American flag on my shirt. They just put them on things. Right, same thing here. The Nicaraguan flag just ends up on stuff. They mention Nicaragua in the songs. Right, it's it's totally normal. It's normal for you to be like, I feel uncomfortable about the amount that we talk about this, and it's normal that they do that. So yeah, it's it's par for the course, and funny when someone has not had the experience to see it other places. But yeah, no, totally what it's like other places. Diego says, I saw a video that made a remark of this, and I was surprised that it was worth mentioning. I think it's only worth mentioning if you have tourists who are like, very either Nicaraguans who've never been somewhere else and are like, what? No, we're the only one. We must be the only ones, right? Or people coming from a country and haven't been to many places and are like, oh, Nicaragua mentions Nicaragua a lot. Well, yeah, like it's a very proud country. You know, they fought off the U.S. That's a pretty big freaking deal. You know, I'd be proud of it too. It's not like you don't go to Honduras and get people super proud of their country. And El Salvador, people super proud of their country. Like, of course they are. Tenbai says, there used to be a sense of nationalism in America. Well, I think there still is. I guess I haven't spent that much time there in the last, but the nature of it has certainly changed. Janet says, I plan to have 1,000 Cordobas, but we usually use less. So like around $20 for some, not the most expensive food, with sodas, a 2-liter of water, unlimited ice. And she's talking about 2 people going out to dinner for a little bit under $20 for the evening. And that's a Friday night out, long time out. I don't know when she normally gets there. We go to the same places on Fridays. And we know where to go because of Nika Roomba. I'm pushing it hard. I've been working very hard this week on Nika Roomba. It's the new version 2.0, completely revamped. There is no code or anything for Diego, who's a developer. There's no code shared with the old Nika Roomba. This is the full rewritten in Golang rebuild of it. It's getting somewhere. So go check it out. Diego, I definitely expect to see you have an account on Nika Roomba this week. Hey guys, just a reminder to give a thumbs up while you're on here. So yeah, that's our night. We got a lot of people on, 23 people after just a little bit. This is fantastic. We've gone 34 minutes. I'm planning on just doing a short one this week, so or tonight was not. Just a quick reminder: we always do live streams on Thursdays, but not this week. It is Thanksgiving and my daughter's birthday, so you'll see a normal recorded, I hope, daily on Thursday, but not a live stream like we normally do. So we're kind of flipping this week. Lots of live streams, and the recorded one is going to be Thursday. Do I maintain Nika Roomba by myself? I do actually. So the old Nika Roomba was not actually written by me. It's a developer in Guadalupe made it, and it was built on PHP and MySQL, and really struggled to expand. But it's been running for 2 years, and has done thousands of events. Is especially here in Leon, quite popular. But it started to have some problems, and maintenance was an issue, and so I took it on to completely rewrite it this week in Go with a React front end. There's a developer out of Portugal who's working on the Flutter app for it. It is definitely not a WordPress site. No. Go look at it carefully. You'll be like, yeah, no one's doing this with WordPress. It is just about to have ActivityPub integration natively, which is going to be really cool. We'll talk about that. It's about to have emailing, but personal calendars is a big deal. But no, it's 100% code written in Nicaragua. This is purely a local thing. Runs on Postgres on the back end, has val key caching. I'm very proud of the work we did on this small project, and new features coming to it quickly. So not a lot on there. It's only been back up and running for the last 48 hours, but it is back. It is amazing. It is faster than before, more robust, more features. It's got lots of social media share stuff on it. So go check it out. NikaRoomba.com. Totally free. And if you know any restaurants, you know any bars, you know any bands, you know any cultural events that are not, and very few of them are, have them reach out. For the moment, use my email, but I'll start running things with the Nika Roomba contact information. It's like info@nikaroomba.com, that they can use it. Do I ever find locals using Nika Roomba? Yes, they use it heavily. I've been at concerts wearing these shirts and had people from Managua come up to me and they're like, you know Nika Roomba? We came to Leon because we found concerts because of Nika Roomba. Like, yeah, no, people use it. It's got thousands of users. Alberta boy, buenos noches, got starting to pack. Awesome. Get packed up, get down here. But yeah, Diego, let everyone know. No, I would say it's mostly Nicaraguans using it. It's operated by Marcella. She's the head of Nika Roomba. She does all the postings. She talks to the bands and stuff. And it's been a little bit slowed down because of her cancer, which she's beaten. She's doing great, but she's had cancer for a year. So we lost a ton of work. And I'll do an episode sometime soon talking about Nika Roomba and the new stuff going on, a little history of it, and all of that. But we're going to call it a night for tonight. A few people are signing off, so perfect time. Thank you so much, everyone, for jumping on. Thanks for the questions. Hopefully, we were able to help Awakened One make some decisions. Of course, we need more information to make really good decisions, but hopefully that was useful. I'm about to go play a murder mystery with my kids, and I really appreciate you guys. So if you would be so kind as to give a thumbs up. If you'd like to support the channel, we got a join button down there. You can actually join right here on YouTube, or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Scott Allen Miller. Link is in the show notes, the episode notes, and that helps directly. It's like Patreon, and just lets you buy me a couple coffees, and helps pay for the cameras and stuff, because it really is expensive to do the show. I very much appreciate that. And of course, get in the comments afterwards and ask questions. Send in videos of yourselves. That is always fantastic. And social media is on there. Join up on Nika Roomba.